rambling on to some unknown destination.
Now, Calico is a very uproaring town because the entire main street of Calico is only about a quarter of a mile long, but on that street there was about 22 saloons during the boom years.
In the middle of the desert lies another ghost town, Calico, they call it. And in its heyday, this was another town where the desire for silver overruled the scorching sun, freezing nights, and horrible living conditions.
Between 1881 and 1907, they mined about $86 million worth of silver out of these mountains.
I don't really know a whole lot about, you know, ghost phenomena and that kind of thing, but one theory along those lines is that people who had hard lives or died, you know, violent or unnecessary deaths, they end up being trapped on this level.
And between the outbreak of cholera, the miserable conditions in the mines, and the fierce competition between fortune seekers, this theory was certainly tested out. The mining town of Calico had more than their share of unnecessary deaths.
I always feel like there's something else here. At nighttime, everything's locked up. There's no traffic up here, really. And yet lights will come on and go off. Doors will swing open. You'll walk past a building and check the lock and walk back through an hour later and the lock's gone. Just lots of really weird things.
Visited by people from all over the world, Calico offers a historical glimpse into the old Wild West. And during the day, the town appears to be calm on the surface. But at night, when Calico is empty, the facade falls.
Pretty rough little area here. What happens is sometimes at night they'll actually see blue lights moving across the town site without regard to where the ravines are. So how can anyone walk through the town with a light and not go up and down with the canyon? But basically the lights seem to be floating, and if you try to follow them, they cross a ravine in such a way that you can't follow them. If you look right behind us here, just down the hill there, you'll find what's left of the old Spanish Trail, Mormon Trail, among many others. And those trails were used, as far back as maybe 50,000 years ago. So man has been going through this area almost continuously during that period. There's been many things that happened here, a lot of history.
It's definitely a ghost town. Definitely a ghost town. Too many strange things that, I mean, you can't dismiss everything as coincidence.
Okay, an interesting thing happened here in this building in 1992. A couple of our guests came up, and during the weeks, we don't usually have a schoolmarm here within the building. Well, that day, they found the door open, walked into the building, and what did they find? They found a woman sitting in there who claimed to have been the last school teacher here at Calico. Well, they talked to her for about 45 minutes, took some photographs with her, took them home, had them developed. The only problem is when they had the photographs developed, they found that where the teacher was supposed to be, there was only a blank space. Well, this is interesting because the last school teacher here at Calico, her name was Margaret J. Olivier. Now, she died in 1932, and at her own request, she was buried here in the Calico Cemetery, which is just below the town. So if she was up here in 1992, she was probably just visiting. It's only a short walk from the cemetery to the schoolhouse. Several times after the place has been closed down for the night, the doors will rattle, the locks will move. They've gone in the next day, and they'll find that some of the costumes have been moved around on the racks. Now, here in the Calicage Playhouse here at Calico, we've had a couple strange things take place. One time, during one of the performances, one of the women actors was supposed to go backstage and light a candle. Well, when she got backstage, she found that the candle had already been lit. Well, she brought the candle forward and did finish the performance. When she asked the other actors who had lit the candle, she said they all denied that they had lit the candle. And what was strange about it was the candle burned with sort of an unusual light until they put it out. Another thing that's unusual about this building was the fact that they've named the ghost here Esmeralda. Well, this is unusual because Mrs. Lane, who lived in Calico the longest, when she was living at Rhyolite, Nevada, lived on Esmeralda Street. I wonder if there's a connection.
Although the ghosts in Calico seemed to be hospitable and merely attached to what they knew as their earthly homes, they nevertheless exude a restlessness.
Okay, well, the house here was originally built in 1887 by Henry R. Gregory, who was our last postmaster and justice of the peace here at Calico. Now, Mrs. Lane actually lived in the house from 1920 through 1967, a period of 47 years. Now, the house is said to be haunted. Many times when the ladies are cleaning it, they say that they hear people and things moving around and walking within the building, but when they check, there's nobody there but them. Another thing is in the bedroom area there, there's a rocking chair right next to the window. Every time they try to move this rocking chair, the next morning when they come back in, the rocking chair is back where it started. Maybe Mrs. Lane just likes her chair right where it was. Every once in a while, they will find some of these pictures laying in the middle of the floor, like they've fallen down, except the frames are not broken, and they're too far away from the wall to have fallen on their own. So we figure maybe Mrs. Lane just wants them moved.
John Ransom still goes down in the mines here, and especially the Red Cloud mine. Part of the Silver King mine, it still echoes a morose past.
Every once in a while you'll hear it, not every time you go in, but you will hear this odd thudding noise, and there's no reason for it. There's nothing in there that's moving. Back in the mining days, they did have a couple of cave-ins that people were trapped and never brought out. Understand one of them here, and then one of them over on the other side of the hill over there at the Waterman mine. And to this day, it's still there.
I think the best time to be here at Calico is at night, especially on a full moonlit night when the town's lit. It's rather interesting. It's like walking through the town as it was during the 1880s. In fact, you always get the feeling that maybe somebody's going to step out and offer you a cold one from one of the old saloons. Or maybe one of the ladies of the evening will come up and make you a nice proposition. Because, see, Calico never really became a ghost town because there was always somebody living here. But I don't think that stops it from being a ghost town.
Doomed to roam restlessly between the world of the living and the world of the dead, ghosts continue to haunt our imagination and hold our fascination. But whether the ghosts of the Old West are restless souls who have returned to settle a score, right or wrong, or just hang around, it seems they're certainly here to stay.
When the wind dies and the dust settles back over the ruins, all falls silent and calm. With its vast, unsheltered regions sprinkled with abandoned towns, the Old West lends itself to those eerie tales of ghosts. I'm Patrick Macnee. Thanks for joining me on Ghost Stories.